Oh, hello. Welcome to my shitty little devlog. I just want to showcase a little game I'm working on, my trials and tribulations, my progress, and archive it just for anyone wanting to get into game dev. I know nothing about game dev. This is me just personally teaching myself and learning C++ and how to use Unreal Engines, the blueprints, and all that. I'll be going through all the kinds of nicks and knacks that I went through to make this little showcase. Here we have my little character, my little monster. He can move around in a 3D world, though he is 2D. I'm not happy with the movement. I think it needs some work, as when I move up and down, my y-axis is just not right. Another thing I've been kind of working on is a attack animation. It works, but it only works on a double click. That's another problem too. And finally, I'm working on a projectile that can be fired from this guy. So far, the velocity seems to be causing an issue, as when I want to increase the velocity, holding down the trigger, it should shoot where my cursor is aiming, right? So I'm going to look into it and fix that up, see what I can do. And it's also having the same problem as my attack, where I need to click twice for it even to consider counting up the range and velocity. So I'm gonna have to come up with something to fix that little issue. Previously, I had a character blueprint that would work on a X axis and would flip 180 when I moved around. I'll just show it off here. Here we have a character. He can move around. He can do other stuff. And essentially what I wanted was like Street Fighter or Binding of Isaac, where you go to room, pick up items, and it would affect your run until you've eventually died. Okay, let's take a deeper dive into what I've got going on here. First off, our game mode. Simple game mode blueprint. If we go into here, all I'm using from this is the mouse and the player character. All good. Next up we have the actual mouse blueprint. Simple as is, don't need much more to it. And our player character. So in here we have everything going on what the player character should be doing. First off, at the top here, this is kind of what I've been most recently trying to implement. The projectile spawning in, getting a velocity, adding range, and then setting the velocity and its local space. Now this seems to be calling an error every time I run the program, which is a big problem, I think. Next up, I want to address my attack animation. Why do I have to double click for it to actually happen? Why do I have to double click to charge up the attack? Here we have, if the character breaks the vector x and it's less than 0, it runs. If it's more than 0, it runs. I find when these two things are both into one select, it tends to break and jitter the character back and forth, and he flips. So I broke it down into two. It works, but I might have to clamp it because something isn't right if I keep going up and down and I can't see the character. That's a problem. I have a feeling that here, whenever it's choosing to select, movement is prioritizing or something, because every time you can hear me click, right, nothing happens. That's another problem I'm going to fix. What else do we have? So a simple attack animation that should, in theory, do as designed. A simple help bar with a functioning health and on an event we update our fire direction. Now another problem is, so we actually have 4 problems, which is fantastic. There seems to be an issue here. I'm going to look into it and find a fix, and then go through what I did to fix it. Right now it seems to be, I'm taking the hit result under the cursor through the player character. Anyhow, I'll experiment a bit for the accuracy and see what is causing the problem, but right now all I want to do is compare where I click and where my arrow is. Be able to shoot a projectile accurately as you're kind of dodging around and fighting different enemies. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything right now. I caught us up, and I'll be keeping the blueprints for future reference, for a little learning. And if anyone wants me to go into more detail about this, just leave a comment below. I'm new to this, so it's all a learning progress. Alright, that's all she wrote, folks. I'm gonna leave it for this week, and we'll be back next week with another video.